Okay, we are going to look at measuring length in centimeters and inches, but to the nearest quarter inch and 3/4 inch. So I'm going to kind of, let me put this down. So we're going to kind of look at how to use a ruler. I'm sure you kind of know, but you always start at, let me see, I kind of have a glare on the screen. Here we go. You always start at the very end of your ruler, unless it actually says 0, then you would start at the 0 spot when you're measuring anything. And one side of it, this side is inches, and this other side is going to be your centimeters. So on this one, if I were measuring in centimeters, I would just line it up just like that. And I can see that it is just past the 4. So this would be 4, and it's halfway between 4 and 5. So that would be 4.5 centimeters. Okay, let's look at another one in centimeters. So on this one, it goes, I start at the end, it goes all the way to 7. So that one's easy, 7 centimeters. Okay, let's look at another one. All right, this one, I'm lining it up, I'm looking. Now this one, it doesn't go quite to the halfway mark. It actually is in between the 5 and the little halfway line that's a little bit longer. So on this one, we would say it is 5 and 1/4 centimeters. Because it's a fourth of the way there. Okay, now let's look at some inches. On the inches side, you're going to do the same thing starting at the end. This one goes to 3, so that's 3 inches. This one, do you see how there's a longer line here between the 2 and the 3? That's the halfway point, so that would be 2 and 1/2 inches. Okay, let's look at another one. Okay, so if I was going to do this one on my inches, I would start at my end. Now notice, it's not on 1, it's not on 2, but it's past that longer halfway mark. So if I were estimating and guessing about where it is, I would say 1 3/4 inch. Okay, same here, I'm going to measure. Once again, it's between the 3 and the 4, but it's not at the halfway mark, it's past it. So if I'm estimating and making a guess, it's about 3 3/4. And here's a handy way to help you remember the different ones. If you just have like an index card, you can fold it in half and then fold it in half again. So you have, so when you open it up, there's these sections. So if I were pretending that this was an inch, you would say 1/2's right here in the middle, and you have 1/4 over here and 3/4 here between the 1 and the 2. Okay, now sometimes whenever you're doing tests, they try to trick you a little bit. Let me show you an example. So here's a paper and it says, you're supposed to figure out how long this is. Well, some people would say, well, it's right past the 4. And so that must be 4.5. But I want you to look at it closely. Does this one start at the end of the ruler like it's supposed to? It doesn't. So what you would do is you would count how many full inches there are first. 1, 2, 3. And then see how far into it. So it'd be 3.5 inches. So if I were to look at this one, it's another broken ruler. It doesn't start at the beginning of the ruler. This is sometimes what they do on tricky tests. So when you look at it, you have to actually count how long it actually is at this point in the ruler. So it's 1 full one, 2 full inches. It doesn't quite make it to the halfway. So I know it must be 1/4. So I said 2 1/4. So it'd be 2 1/4, just like that. Okay, let's look at one more. So here's another one. It's kind of weird. It's not starting at the very beginning of my ruler, so I have to start by counting. I'm actually going to start over here because I see it actually stops at a spot. So I have one whole 1, 2, 3, 4, and this line is about to the halfway, so I would say 4 1/2. Okay, so that's kind of how you would look at that. And then if you were looking at centimeters, here's an example of a centimeter problem that they could give you. Notice they didn't start again at the beginning of the ruler like they should have, but they're saying how long is it from here to here? You just count 1, 2, 3. So this one would be 3 centimeters. Let's look at this one down here. So this one didn't start at the beginning of the ruler. It's another broken ruler. So I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, because it's 4 between those two arrows. 4 centimeters. Okay, so that's just a little idea of measurement and how sometimes on those standardized tests, sometimes they can trick you with where they're putting it. So make sure you're paying attention to those kind of things.